Buy these 5 assets and never sell them. The secret to lifelong wealth. You were probably taught to buy low, sell high, time the market, and keep flipping your portfolio to get ahead. But what if I told you that this entire strategy is a trap disguised as intelligence? Yeah, I know it sounds bold, but here's the truth. Real wealth, the kind that lasts for generations, doesn't come from jumping in and out of assets every week. The truly wealthy don't chase the noise. They follow a plan. And that plan has one simple, brutal rule: buy the right assets, and never ever sell them. Now, I get it, that might sound counterintuitive. The world keeps shouting that money is all about speed, hustle, movement. But the masters of personal finance, the ones who've actually made it, know something different. They know that real wealth is like a tree. You plant it, you protect it, and you don't dig it up just because you saw a new leaf. This video is for those who are tired of chasing money and are ready to make money chase them. You're about to discover the 5 assets that quietly turn ordinary people into silent millionaires. No empty promises here. Just time-tested financial principles, forged through decades of experience, failure, and learning. And here's the kicker: by the end of this video, you'll realize that the most powerful asset of all isn't in your bank account or the stock market. It's inside you, just waiting to be activated. So if you're ready to stop surviving and start building real wealth, the kind that pays you while you sleep, then stay with me until the very end. But fair warning, if you skip asset number 5, you might be throwing away the next 10 years of your financial future. True wealth is built with assets you never sell. Most people still believe that getting rich means finding the next hot investment, buying low and selling high. But that mindset turns a lot of people into eternal gold hunters, never into real wealth builders. Financial freedom doesn't come from lucky trades or hype-driven decisions. It comes from long-term conviction. Anyone who understands personal finance knows it's not about getting it right once. It's about getting it right consistently. Real wealth takes time, takes financial education, smart money management, and assets that pay you while you're out living your life. I call it silent money. The kind that works for you while you're spending time with your family, building your dreams, or just resting. If you want your life to change, you need to stop thinking like a consumer and start acting like an owner. Think about planting a tree. You don't dig a hole, toss in a seed, and expect fruit tomorrow. But with patience, discipline, and vision, that tree becomes a source of shade, food, and security. That's exactly how wealth works. Assets you never sell are those trees. They give you steady cash flow, long-term appreciation, and financial stability, no matter what the economy's doing. Once you lock in this mindset, you stop chasing money and start attracting it. This is real financial automation. One smart decision today can pay you for decades. But let me be clear, we're not talking about just any asset. We're talking about assets that stand the test of time, that resist fear, hype, and greed. Assets that build passive income, protect you from inflation, and grow through compound interest. The problem is, most people want fast returns. They want income without foundation. But here's the reality. Real millionaires don't sell the goose that lays the golden eggs just because the news says recession. They understand that financial stability is built with consistency, not panic. If you want to break free from the cycle of financial anxiety, stop looking for shortcuts, because most shortcuts are just traps in disguise. The people who actually build lasting wealth, they use a compass, not a stopwatch. They're not chasing the next crypto trend or the hottest ETF this week. They have a solid plan, built on financial awareness, long-term protection, and valuable assets. Now imagine this. What if you had just held on to the right assets for the last 10 years instead of selling in fear? You might already be financially free. But don't worry, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. And yes, this takes a millionaire mindset. But more importantly, it takes daily action. Small steps today, big results tomorrow. And if you're still thinking this is just theory, think again. Robert Kiyosaki didn't write Rich Dad, Poor Dad based on guesswork. He lived it. And just like him, Many others who reached financial freedom did so by holding tight to what others were desperate to sell. Assets you never sell aren't just investments. They're freedom systems. And that's what we're diving into, starting now. Let's break down each of the 5 pillars that support real, lasting wealth. And the first one is something most people overlook. But that's exactly where the real power begins. Real estate. The money machine you should never sell. Now, imagine owning something that pays your bills every month, without trading your time for it. That's what real estate is. It's a passive income machine that not only brings in steady cash flow through rent, but also grows in value over time and protects you from economic turbulence. It's more than just a place to live. It's a financial engine. It shields you from inflation. It offers tax benefits that'll make any accountant smile. While some people are busy trying to predict the next real estate boom, the smart ones are quietly buying properties and holding on to them for life. See, real wealth loves silence, loves patience, and real estate rewards exactly that. A well-located, well-managed property is like a Swiss watch. It runs silently, precisely, and reliably. And the best part, it not only puts money in your pocket today, it can become a legacy for your family tomorrow. But here's where most people mess up. They buy a property, watch it go up in value, and then sell it too soon. Feels like a win. But they miss out on decades of steady income. I've seen it happen. Someone sells a house for $80,000 thinking they made a smart move. 3 years later, that same house is worth $120,000 and generating $600 a month in rent. That's what I call the cost of impatience. Financial education isn't just about knowing where to invest. It's about learning when not to sell. It's about mastering your lifestyle so you're never forced to cash out an asset just to pay a bill. And when you master that, you stop surviving and start building. Here's another powerful part. The psychological impact. When you own property, you feel protected. In a crisis, when stocks crash, currencies devalue, and the media screams, panic, your rental income keeps hitting your bank account. That creates a kind of peace. Almost spiritual financial stability. And especially in countries like Brazil or developing markets, real estate is still one of the most reliable ways to protect against economic chaos. Now, let's be clear. Not just any property will do. You need to choose wisely. Study growth areas, evaluate living costs, understand the local economy. This is where intelligent automation comes in. Choosing assets that keep working even when you're not watching them 24/7. And if you think you need to be rich to get started, think again. You can start small. Micro apartments near college campuses, rental units in emerging neighborhoods, or even vacant lots in expanding urban areas. Use the 25-15-50-10 rule to manage your budget, build an emergency fund, and take that first step, safely and smartly. With planning and discipline, getting into real estate costs less than most people imagine. And the income you earn from it, it can fund your next investments, creating a wealth-building loop that never stops. And you know what's even more powerful than rental income? Knowing that this asset can be passed down, potentially tax-free if done right. That's not just wealth. That's legacy, real long-term financial freedom that supports your children and your children's children. Wealth isn't built with luck. It's built with vision, strategy, and patience. And speaking of strategy, the next asset is just as powerful and just as quiet. But it hides in plain sight, inside the portfolios of the world's most disciplined investors. Stocks from established companies. The quiet giants of wealth. You know, those companies that seem to be everywhere all the time. You wake up, brush your teeth with something made by Procter & Gamble, pour milk from Nestle, order lunch on an app using your Visa card. That's not a coincidence. That's brand power. That's market dominance. These companies, often called blue chips, are the quiet giants of the global economy. They operate with stability. They generate consistent profits. And they pay dividends like clockwork, little checks that feel like extra income just for holding on. They're not trendy. They're foundational. When we talk about financial freedom, owning these stocks isn't optional. It's essential. buy and hold. That's the rule. Investing in companies like Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson, or Apple isn't just about money. It's a statement. I believe in the real economy. These companies have survived wars, pandemics, financial crises, and they're still standing. Not only that, they've grown. It's like they wear invisible armor. They've built economic moats so deep, their competitors don't stand a chance. And for wealth builders, that's gold. They won't make you rich overnight, but they'll grow your net worth. Slowly, steadily, and surely. And guess what? That's how true wealth is built. Quietly, consistently, over time. Now here's the key. Reinvest your dividends. That's how good investments become wealth-generating machines. It's what Napoleon Hill would call the invisible force of habit. Take that dividend and instead of spending it, reinvest it. That's automation at its finest. And before you know it, compound interest starts working for you. You don't need to be a genius. You just need a system, not willpower. Here's a practical example. Invest $200 a month in ETFs like VOO or SPY with auto reinvestment. Give it 20 years. You won't recognize yourself. And your bank account won't either. Here's the kicker. During crises, these stocks drop. But they don't disappear. And that's when the rich get richer. While others panic and sell, the disciplined investor buys more. At a discount. That's a millionaire mindset. And let me tell you, it's rare. Because it goes against everything society teaches us. It's not about chasing. It's about standing firm. That's worth more than any hot stock tip. Blue chip stocks may not sparkle at first, but they light the way in the long run. And if you've made it this far, you already know. We're talking about assets that build, that protect, and that pay. And we're just getting started. Because if blue chip companies are like the pillars of wealth, the next assets are like the invisible cement holding everything together. Where beginner and expert investors finally speak the same language. A space where emotions fade, and logic takes the wheel. Index funds. The Millionaire Stress-Free Path, US version. If you've realized that trying to predict the next financial hype is like playing emotional roulette, then US index funds might be the smartest route to your financial freedom. They're not promises. They're proven tools backed by decades of solid results. Funds like VTI, VOOVT, or the famous VTSAX are the true pillars of modern financial literacy. They track the market as a whole, whether it's the S&P 500, the global economy, or the US total stock market. And the best part, they do it with ridiculously low fees, giving everyday investors access to growth without the stress. Here's the irony. Over 85% of professional fund managers can't beat these funds. Meanwhile, regular people, those who invest monthly and let time do the work, keep building wealth steadily and calmly. Funds like VTSAX or VOO are the heart of a strong, crisis-resistant investment strategy. You don't need to guess which company will explode. You simply own the entire market. It's like owning a tiny piece of every major American company. From Apple to Amazon, from Microsoft to Meta. Passive income, asset appreciation, and peace of mind, all in one. Let me give you a real example. Someone who invests $500 per month into VTI or VTSAX consistently for 30 years with dividend reinvestment could end up with over $1.5 million, even without ever hitting a home run. That's the power of compound interest combined with investment automation. Doesn't require genius, just consistency. This is what I call silent wealth. While others are chasing the next crypto or explosive stock pick, those who truly understand the game stick to regularity. Because in the end, the winner isn't the one who runs the fastest for a month. It's the one who plays the right game the longest. Another huge benefit. These index funds are in US dollars. And that matters a lot. It means you're protecting your wealth in one of the strongest currencies on the planet, shielding yourself from local inflation and currency devaluation. It's like wrapping your financial independence in steel. While many people still rely on savings accounts or questionable real estate deals, you're building your wealth on a solid foundation. In dollars with real growth. That's the kind of wealth building that gives you peace today and real stability tomorrow. Now that you understand how index funds can be your quiet allies, you might be wondering, is there room for something more aggressive in my portfolio? The answer is yes, as long as it's done responsibly. Because the next asset category doesn't just represent the future, it's actively reshaping the present. And smart investors know, ignoring the future is far riskier than investing a small, calculated portion in it. Your personal brand and skills. The invisible asset. There's something most people overlook when it comes to wealth. The greatest asset you'll ever have is you. Before Bitcoin, before real estate, before ETFs, there's something no one can take from you. Your high-income skills, your personal brand, your ability to create value. And no, this isn't empty motivation. This is elite-level strategy. Because the more you grow, the more financial freedom you unlock. Average people invest in things. Wealthy people invest in themselves first. And here's the best part. This asset doesn't depend on the economy, the dollar, or any government. It grows through practice, learning, mentorship, and execution. Learning to sell, to speak, to lead, to solve real problems. These skills pay off directly. Mastering a valuable skill is like having a license to print money legally. A skilled copywriter who understands human behavior can charge $1,000 for a single project. A developer who knows how to automate investments can work from anywhere in the world. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, becoming an authority in your field puts you in a whole different income bracket. Personal brand isn't about being famous. It's about being found, remembered, and valued. And in this game, reputation is worth more than a pretty resume. How many times have you seen someone with less knowledge but more presence land better opportunities? That's because in the real world, being perceived as valuable is almost as important as being valuable. The good news, that can be trained. Start with a simple online portfolio. Post on LinkedIn. Offer mentoring or consulting, even if it's free in the beginning. Network smartly. Financial education also means learning to sell your ideas, time, and vision. And that creates long-term returns. The better you get, the faster you learn, the more doors open. That's what I call invisible but real wealth accumulation. And in times of crisis, what really stands firm? Not your car, not your bank app, but your intellectual capital, your name in the market, your ability to solve problems quickly and efficiently. While others wait for the economy to improve, those with discipline and skills just keep growing. This isn't about becoming an influencer. It's about being known for consistently delivering value. Learn to write, to speak, to negotiate, to build. These are your personal dividends. The difference? You are the asset. And the more value you create, the more you multiply. Now think about this. All those other assets, real estate, stocks, index funds, even AI, they all require one thing to work well. Someone who knows how and where to use them. That someone is you. Your financial results will never outperform the quality of your decisions. And your decisions come from your mindset, your clarity, your vision. So if you want to build a real legacy, start with yourself. Because none of this works if you're not the foundation of the structure. Now that you've seen the full picture, you know, real financial freedom doesn't come from luck. It comes from deliberate, confident, and consistent choices. You've just discovered the 5 key assets that can turn your effort into passive income, your time into growing wealth, and your patience into long-term prosperity. But knowing isn't enough. What are you going to do with this knowledge now? Will you keep switching investments every time there's a new headline? Or will you finally build a strong foundation that keeps working, whether you're sleeping, working, or on vacation? Which of these assets do you already have? Which one are you starting today? Tell me in the comments, because sharing helps you learn twice. And committing publicly makes you far more likely to follow through. Remember this. The wealth game isn't about speed. It's about direction. And today you have the map in your hands. But like any map, it only works if you start walking. So if this video made you think differently, if it opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And most importantly, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Because every week, we dig deeper into the gold mine of real financial education, the kind that truly transforms lives.